Introduction. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by negative thoughts swirling in your mind, constantly worrying about things outside your control or doubting your own abilities and self-worth? If so, you're not alone. In today's fast-paced world, many of us struggle with habits that chip away at our mental well-being and hold us back from reaching our full potential. But what if I told you there is a timeless philosophy that can help you break free from these toxic patterns? A way of thinking that has been embraced by some of history's greatest minds, from emperors to enslaved people, soldiers to scholars. That philosophy is Stoicism, and in this video, we'll explore how its ancient wisdom can liberate you from 7 crippling habits that may be sabotaging your happiness and success. You see, the Stoics believed that true freedom and tranquility come from focusing our energy on what is within our control while letting go of what is not. Epictetus said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things beyond the power of our will." Over the next hour, we'll dive deep into 7 damaging behaviors that the Stoics identified as obstacles to a fulfilling life. Overthinking. Trying to please everyone. Living in the past. Constantly worrying. Self-doubt. Negative self-talk. Procrastination. For each of these, we'll examine the Stoic perspective and insights from philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. We'll provide practical, modern-day strategies to help you quit these habits for good. Many of you can relate to at least 1 or 2 behaviors hindering your life. Maybe you're a chronic overthinker whose racing mind keeps you up at night, or a people pleaser who has lost touch with your values and desires. Whatever your struggle, I invite you to share it in the comments below. Overcoming deeply ingrained patterns is no easy feat. It takes courage, self-awareness, and a steadfast commitment to personal growth. But the rewards are immense. A profound sense of inner peace, unshakable confidence, and the ability to fully embrace each present moment. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. By aligning our mindset with Stoic virtues like resilience, self-control, and rational thinking, we can transform our experiences and reclaim our power over the habits holding us back. So, brace yourself for an insightful, engaging, and potentially life-changing journey. One where you'll gain a deeper understanding of your behaviors and acquire powerful tools to cultivate the existence you truly desire and deserve. A life free from the shackles of overthinking, people-pleasing, and other joy-sapping habits we'll explore. But to get there, we must start by examining habit 1, overthinking. Seneca wisely stated, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." So, let's dive in and learn how to quiet that restless mind. Chapter 1. Overthinking. In our fast-paced, information-overloaded world, the tendency to overthink has become a pandemic. We're constantly bombarded with stimuli, choices, and what-ifs that send our minds into frenzied overdrive. Overthinking is that constant inner voice that stubbornly replays past situations, frets about future uncertainties, and blows minor concerns out of proportion. The endless cycle of churning thoughts leaves us drained, anxious, and paralyzed. As Seneca warned, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. When we overthink, we mentally construct worst-case scenarios and catastrophize minor issues into looming disasters. The more we dwell on these imagined threats, the more accurate and terrifying they become. This pernicious habit doesn't just compromise our mental health, it sabotages productivity, decision-making, and our ability to embrace the present moment. When our minds are caught in the overthinking loop, we can't take purposeful action or appreciate the beauty and richness of what's right in front of us. Fortunately, the ancient Stoics developed robust mental frameworks to counter overthinking and cultivate tranquility, an unshakable inner calm amidst life's inevitable turbulence. At the core of their philosophy was the notion that we cannot control external events, only our judgments and reactions to them. As Marcus Aurelius proclaimed, if you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it. The Stoics taught that our overthinking stems from irrational beliefs and desires about how we think the world should be rather than accepting reality as it is. Reframing our perspective through reason and self-discipline can help us escape the overthinking prison. One powerful Stoic exercise is called the view from above. It involves zooming out and looking at your current situation from a broader vantage point, almost like watching yourself on a grand stage. This mental shift helps you detach from the intense, myopic fixation that fuels overthinking and see your circumstances through a more rational, balanced lens. Another Stoic antidote is called negative visualization, vividly picturing losing the things you currently have, like your possessions or relationships. This exercise cultivates gratitude by reminding you that nothing is permanently guaranteed. That perspective makes you less likely to cling to and obsess over ultimately impermanent circumstances. Here are some practical guides. Identify your overthinking triggers, certain situations, topics, or even times of day when your mind tends to spiral. Pause and take deep breaths. When you notice overthinking arising, create space between you and your whirling thoughts. Practice the view from above. Imagine you're an aloof, impartial observer watching the situation from a distance or space. What would this look like? How significant is it? Ask yourself about the long-term impact. Will this issue matter in 1 year, 5 years, etc.? Most of what we obsess over has little long-term relevance. Stoic negative visualization. Vividly picture your current situation or possessions being taken away for a dose of humble gratitude. Be present. When your mind wanders to other times, gently bring it back to this moment, the only real thing. Consider the story of Sarah. Sarah knows the feeling of overthinking all too well. The other day at work, she sent a friendly Slack message to her manager about an upcoming project. Harmless enough, right? But almost immediately, her mind kicked into overdrive. Did I come across as too casual by not using proper capitalization? Or was it weirdly formal by saying good morning first? Maybe I should have added an emoji to seem more approachable. Oh no. What if she thinks I'm being passive-aggressive by following up on this so soon? Before she knew it, Sarah was drowning in a whirlpool of imagined interpretations and worst-case scenarios about this minor interaction. She spent the rest of her workday utterly distracted, rereading that Slack message every few minutes and berating herself for things she may have phrased incorrectly or insensitively. By the time she got home, Sarah was consumed with anxiety that she had somehow offended her manager, without realizing it. She even considered sending a follow-up apology despite having no reason to believe she'd done anything wrong, all because her overthinking took on a destructive life of its own. Does this resonate at all? We've all fallen into the overthinking trap at some point, blowing trivialities out of proportion and catastrophizing situations that are ultimately insignificant. As the Stoics taught, when we dwell in the imaginary world of our restless minds, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Let's practice together right now. Close your eyes and picture yourself in a recent situation you've been overthinking or ruminating on. Maybe it's feeling rejected after a job interview or stewing over something a loved one said. Whatever it is, visualize it vividly. Now, zoom out and imagine you're watching the scene unfold as an objective third party. Notice how it appears smaller and less overwhelming from this separate vantage point. Consider whether this issue will matter in the grand scheme of things a year or 5 years from now. If not, why continue torturing yourself over something so insignificant and temporary? Take a deep breath and commit to redirecting your mind's energy towards more productive, enriching thoughts whenever that overthinking loop starts again. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Let's choose to make it good. I'll include more interactive exercises like this throughout the video to help you immediately implement the Stoic solutions I'm sharing. Up next, we'll tackle the toxic habit of people-pleasing and reframe it through the lens of rational self-interest. Don't go anywhere. Chapter 2. Trying to please everyone or people-pleasing. We live in a world where the pressure to conform and be liked is immense. Social media has amplified this, creating constant comparisons and perceived judgments. In this environment, many of us fall into the trap of people-pleasing. This habit can be just as destructive as overthinking. People-pleasing goes beyond simple kindness or consideration. It's a compulsive need to gain approval and avoid conflict at all costs, often at the expense of our well-being and authenticity. The people-pleaser becomes a chameleon, constantly shifting their behavior, opinions, and values to match what they think others want. The habit can manifest in various ways. Saying yes to requests even when we're overwhelmed. Apologizing excessively, even for things that aren't our fault. Avoiding expressing our genuine opinions for fear of disagreement. Neglecting our own needs to attend to others. Feeling responsible for others' emotions and trying to fix them. While it may seem harmless or even virtuous on the surface, chronic people-pleasing takes a heavy toll. It leads to burnout, resentment, loss of self-identity, and paradoxically, often results in less authentic relationships. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely noted, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. The Stoics recognized the futility and danger of trying to please everyone. They understood that true fulfillment comes not from external validation, but from living by one's values and virtues. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, offered this powerful advice: be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. This encapsulates the Stoic approach to dealing with others. Show understanding and kindness, but don't compromise your principles or well-being. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on what's within our control. We can control our actions and reactions, but we cannot control others' opinions or feelings about us. Epictetus put it bluntly: if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. This doesn't mean we should be inconsiderate or selfish. Instead, it's about balancing being kind and maintaining our integrity. The Stoics believed in the concept of oikiosis, a process of self-realization and outward extending our circle of concern. We start by taking care of ourselves, then our close relations, and gradually expand our circle of care to encompass all of humanity. By prioritizing our values and well-being, we become better equipped to help others, rather than merely pleasing them superficially. Practical guide for overcoming people-pleasing. Identify your core values. Reflect on what truly matters. What principles do you want to follow regardless of others' opinions? Practice saying no. Start small. Decline a minor request that aligns differently from your priorities. Remember, saying no to one thing allows you to say yes to something more substantial. Set and communicate boundaries. Clearly express your limits to others. For example, I can help you with this project, but I'll need to finish by 5 p.m. to maintain my work-life balance. Embrace discomfort. Recognize that it's okay if not everyone likes or agrees with you. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Practice self-compassion. When you feel the urge to people-please, treat yourself with the same kindness you'd show a friend. Reframe your perspective. Instead of making others happy, focus on being authentic and kind. Genuine connections are built on honesty rather than constant agreeability. Reflect on consequences. Consider the impact on your well-being and values before agreeing to something. Is it worth the potential stress or compromise? Let's consider the story of Maria, a talented graphic designer working at a fast-paced advertising agency. Maria was known for her creativity and efficiency, but she had a hard time saying no to any request that came her way. Colleagues often asked her to do extra work even when she was already swamped with projects. Clients would demand last-minute changes, and Maria would agree, working late into the night to accommodate them. Her boss casually mentioned weekend work, and Maria obliged without hesitation. At first, Maria felt proud of her reputation as the go-to person who could handle anything. But over time, the constant people-pleasing took its toll. Her projects began to suffer as she juggled too many commitments. She felt constantly stressed and resentful, yet couldn't bring herself to turn down any requests. The breaking point came when Maria missed her sister's wedding anniversary dinner, an event she had promised to attend, because a client asked for revisions at the last minute. Sitting alone in her office that night, Maria realized something had to change. Inspired by Stoic philosophy, Maria began reassessing her priorities and setting clear boundaries. She started by having an honest conversation with her boss about her workload and the need for a better work-life balance. To her surprise, her boss was supportive and helped redistribute some of her tasks. Maria then practiced saying no to non-essential requests, focusing her energy on projects aligned with her values and career goals. She communicated clearly with clients about realistic timelines and the impact of last-minute changes.